Welcome, everybody, to this week's edition of the Life and Legacy Show, sponsored by the Sechler Law Firm, where great families make great plans. My name is Tim Sechler. I am the proprietor at the Sechler Law Firm, and I am your host during this radio show, where we talk about all things long-term care, estate planning, post-death administration work, all of these stressful times and stressful things that people don't really like to talk about, but really need to talk about. And I try to give you the information in this show I think you need to know to make good decisions, and perhaps just identify when you need somebody else to help you make those decisions. I need to do my little disclaimer that you should not consider anything in this radio show or the YouTube channel to be legal advice. This is general information. If you have on your hands a situation where you need an attorney, then you need to hire an attorney. You don't take legal advice from this or any other radio show. I'm just doing this show to give you the information I think you need to recognize that this stuff is real and you need to do planning. So with all of that said, I'm going to try to get through this week's episode without an obnoxious amount of coughing. I am one of the folks currently getting over COVID. With this most recent variation, it is everywhere. I'm finding, and we think my daughter brought it home from school. So my whole house was quarantined last week, and now I'm back at work trying not to be too gross with all of the coughing that I still have lingering here. Thank the Lord we did not get too sick, and we're back on top and back in school, back at work, and all the rest. This episode this week is an important one, and it's particularly important for our senior listeners or the adult children of our senior listeners, particularly if you are in need of long-term care or soon to be in need of long-term care, or if you're listening to this and you know anyone who is currently in a nursing home. This show is going to be full of really beneficial information. And it starts with a story about a client who came to our office just last week. And the person's spouse is in a nursing home. She's in a nursing home, and she had been in a nursing home. And she recently just moved from one nursing home to the other for some care-related issues. This new nursing home was a better fit. And while in the previous nursing home, she was paying privately. Now, I don't know if you track this stuff or if you pay attention to this stuff. The state publishes a figure of the average cost of a nursing home per month in Pennsylvania. And this year's figure, the 2022 figure, is the average monthly cost of a nursing home is $14,676. So $15,000 a year, $15,000 a month rather, $180,000 a year. And this person that came to our office, spouse in the nursing home, paying privately, close to those rates. I think their rate was like $12,000, going through their life savings. And the new nursing home referred them to my law firm. And we sat down with the family and realized that we could save some real money for this gentleman whose wife is in the nursing home. So here they were in a situation where they were going through the equivalent of about $140,000 or $50,000 a year because they didn't know that they could access Medicaid benefits to help them pay for that care. And it looks like we're going to save this family almost $200,000 over the course of the next 18 months from what they would have paid the nursing home should or would they have continued to pay privately. And the gentleman says to me, why didn't I know this before? The previous nursing home never said anything. They just kept taking our check for $12,000 a month. Why didn't I know that I could employ these techniques that you're discussing and save in the neighborhood of $10,000 a month? And unfortunately, the answer is that some of these facilities don't want you to know. They're not going to actively prevent you from going out and getting legal advice, but they're also not going to go and tell you, hey, you can go get help and save a bunch of money. Now, some of the facilities, like the one that ultimately referred this family to us, are perfectly happy for you to get legal advice and protect your home. They know the rules are crooked. They know people are going broke. They see people losing their homes. They don't want people to lose their homes. These people didn't go into business in the long-term care industry to make their residents go broke. That's not what they're in it for. They're in there actually to take care of people. And when they see a situation, some of what I'll call the friendly nursing homes, when the friendly nursing homes see a situation where these guys could work with an elder law attorney and protect a bunch of money, they make the referral. Some of the nursing homes, what I'll call the unfriendly nursing homes, don't do that. Their business model is, we're essentially going to build this family until they go broke. We don't care that legal advice could save their money. If they want to get legal advice, that's on them. We're a provider. We're not here to look out for the best financial interest. We're here to provide the care. If they go broke, that's their problem. And unfortunately, that mentality exists in some of the long-term care facilities out there. And I've even seen, very recently, I've seen nursing homes give terrible financial advice to their residents and the residents' family. And it makes you wonder if the nursing home isn't actually giving legal advice when they do something like this. And I'll tell you what happened. When, in a married case, one spouse is in the nursing home and the other spouse is out in the community, in Pennsylvania today, because this is a rule that I expect will change at some point in time, but in Pennsylvania today, if one spouse is in the nursing home, the healthy spouse's retirement accounts, like IRAs and 401ks, the healthy spouse's retirement account doesn't count. The state can't get it. The nursing home can't get it. The healthy spouse gets to keep their own retirement account. That retirement account could have $1 million in it, and that healthy spouse gets to keep the money. Well, in this recent fact pattern, the nursing home billing office had told the healthy spouse that the healthy spouse's retirement account was an available resource for Medicaid, and they needed to spend it down to the low threshold so before the wife would ever go on care. Well, that's not true. That's not true. That's not the way that it works. So here's the nursing home telling somebody a financial thing as though it's fact that's going to end up costing this family about $150,000 as the guy liquidates his IRA, that he didn't have to do. He was eligible, the wife was eligible for Medicaid without him having to do that. But that's not what the nursing home told them. Now, this gets me to a point that I like to make from time to time on the radio show and elsewhere, is if you have a family member, if you have a family member admitted to a nursing home, you need to look at this like a legal problem. Yes, it's a medical problem. Yes, it's a social work problem. Yes, there's a lot of problems. But there's also a financial problem. And the financial problem is only resolved with proper legal action. It's kind of like this. If a nursing home is $180,000 in a year, and let's say that your loved one, your spouse, your mom was going to go into a nursing home, and you knew she was going to live a year, that's $180,000, right? Well, if anybody else was coming after you for $180,000, like if you were in a car accident and someone sued you for $180,000, wouldn't you call a lawyer and say, hey, I've got this creditor thing going on that they're telling me I owe them $180,000. Is there anything we can do to cut that bill down? And of course, you're going to retain legal counsel if they tell you, yeah, there's some steps we can take and we can protect some money for you. But for some reason, when people go to the nursing home and the billing office tells them something asinine like what I just explained a little bit ago, they just accept it as though it's gospel, and they start writing the checks without going out and seeking help. And I don't know why people don't look for help in that situation, but I can tell you, if you have a loved one going into a nursing home, they give you a stack of paper on the way in, they got contracts, you got state paperwork, you got all kinds of different things. It's all very confusing. You've never been in this situation before. You need to call us. This is a situation where we can help, and sometimes we can help. So the family that we met last week that I was telling you about, this family was going through it was about $12,000 a month going to this nursing home. And then they moved to the new nursing home. They referred them to us. In all likelihood, we're going to have this person eligible for Medicaid next month. The $12,000 bill goes away. We're still going to be writing a check for the Social Security check, but the monthly bill is going to go for this family from $12,000 a month for the nursing home to $2,000 a month from the nursing home, just because we know how Medicaid works. And it bugs me because I've been telling stories like this for 10 years now. I've been in the elder law business for 10 years, and I have been telling people, when you go to the nursing home, you need to get a lawyer. When you go to the nursing home, you need to get a lawyer. And people don't do it. And I can tell you that there are people in my local community, in Pittsburgh, in Cranberry, in Butler County, in Washington County, I can tell you in every nursing home around, there's probably somebody paying $10,000, $12,000 a month that doesn't need to be. All they need to do is call us, and we can have a strategy session, and we can say, well, if we did this thing, Medicaid law allows you to do this thing and this thing and this thing, and if we do those things, perfectly legal to do, your bill goes away. Would you like to do those things, or would you like to still pay $12,000 a month? And when we lay it out for people, of course, if I'm getting the same care either way, and I can get it for $2,000 a month, or I can get it for $12,000 a month, I'll take two. But people just don't go get that advice, and it's because they're nervous, or it's because they've never had to go to a lawyer before. Like you got a lot of these situations where the family's never needed a lawyer. They've never been through a divorce. They've never had criminal problems. They've never had to go to the lawyer. But this is a legal problem, and you need to go to the lawyer because we can help. And I can explain how we're going to do it, and I can explain to you. I'll give you an example right now. So, without getting too difficult, because I can't do the radio show with like a whiteboard, right? These things are easier to explain visually. I'm a visual guy. But in a married case, if one spouse goes to the nursing home, let's make up a fact pattern. The family has $300,000 cash. Let's just forget about investments and forget about life insurance and retirement accounts. Let's just make up a fairy tale where a family has $300,000 in cash. Okay? Wife goes to the nursing home. So what is the healthy spouse going to be allowed to keep? You're allowed to keep half of that money up to a maximum, in this year's figure is $137,400. Why $137,000? I don't know. Go ask somebody in Harrisburg. But that's the number, $137,000. You can keep half of the money up to that. So if the person has $300,000, half the money would be $150,000, but we don't get to keep $150,000. We get to keep $137,000. The other money, the roughly $160 couple thousand bucks, is going to need to be spent on the nursing home before mom is eligible for Medicaid. Now, one of the tricks, one of the techniques that we can use is an understanding of the fact that Medicaid, under the law, has to treat assets, the cash, differently than they treat income. Right? Well, that's interesting. Assets are different than income. It's all dollars, but if it comes in every month, it's income. And if it's sitting in an account, it's cash. Right? Okay. So traditional income is things like Social Security and pension, wages, those sorts of things. So then under the rules, there might be an advantage that we could take advantage of, an opportunity that we could take advantage of by transferring dollars between assets and income, if it results in a favorable result for our client. So how do we do that? Well, there's a device, turns out, in the law called a Medicaid qualified annuity, an annuity. So an annuity is an insurance contract. I give the insurance company money. The insurance company gives me my money back over time with some interest. That's an annuity. Now, sometimes annuities are deferred, meaning I give them my money, they give me my money back in 7 years with the interest. Sometimes annuities are immediate. I give them $100,000, they start paying me my income next month and every month thereafter. It's a little bit like buying a pension. Now, sometimes these contracts can make sense in everyday financial planning. Sometimes they can make a ton of sense if we're in a nursing home situation, because when we're in a nursing home situation, we are not in traditional financial planning mode. You're going out the door $180,000 a year. That's not traditional financial advice time. That is asset protection time. And there's a strategy that says, in a married case, if we take the assets that we were about to lose to the nursing home over the course of the next year, and we convert those assets into income, well, the healthy spouse might just be able to keep the income because Medicaid regs treat assets differently than they treat income. So by knowing that there's such a thing called a Medicaid qualified annuity that can convert dollars from what Medicaid counts as an asset into what Medicaid counts as an income stream, we might be able to protect those dollars. And that technique has been used for years to protect money. So why then would any nursing home, what I'll call the friendly nursing homes know this. Well, all the nursing homes know this. Friendly nursing homes tell you about it. Friendly nursing homes will tell you, Mr. Jones, you're going through $12,000 a month on your wife's care. You should go talk to an elder law attorney, because they might just tell you about a thing called a Medicaid qualifying annuity, which will end your $12,000 monthly bill and turn it into something like $2,000 a month. Just, maybe that's worth a free consultation at the Sechler law firm. And then the people come in and we explain whether that's the right strategy, or perhaps there's a different strategy that makes sense. But we look at the situation as, okay, we've got this care situation. Let's make sure first that the senior is going to get the care that they need. And second, if we've established that they're getting the care that they need, is there a thing we can do to protect money for the healthy spouse who may still be living in the community for the next 20 years? Because if we don't protect money for the person living in the community for the next 20 years, they're going to go broke. They're not going to be able to keep their house. They're not going to be able to have a decent retirement or leave a legacy to their grandchildren. So let's do this instead. And it's really that simple sometimes of an analysis. Now, the techniques are not simple. There's nothing about what we actually do is simple, but the decision is simple. Do I want to go through 12 grand a month, 14 grand a month, 15 grand a month? Or if I'm getting the same care, do I want to go through $2,000 a month? And if you know somebody that is in this situation, if you know anybody in this situation, you should send them over. We do free consultations in this. Have them give us a call at 724-841-1393. So, hey, this guy Sechler is on a radio show and he told me that if you're in a nursing home, you can protect a bunch of money. You should just call the guy. SechlerLawFirm.com, SECHLER lawfirm.com. And we will have a free conversation with you to make sure that we're a good fit. Can we actually help you? And if the answer is yes, we can actually help you, then we're going to bring you in and we're going to have a conversation about how, here's option 1, option 2, option 3. Here's what's unique about your family member's care. Here's what's unique about your family member's facility. Here's what's unique about the way that you own your assets. We'll analyze it in light of the Medicaid rules, the rules that allow us to gain eligibility for public benefits. And if there's a technique or a strategy that we see, we're going to say, hey, you got to consider doing this, because if we do this, then here's the result. And, most of the time, the correct answer is, yeah, we need to take some action. Okay. Now, a couple of different things. First, you can learn all about this stuff on my website. If you go to SechlerLawFirm.com, SECHLER lawfirm.com, you can go to the workshops tab. There's a pre-recorded Medicaid workshop where I get into the real nitty-gritty of Medicaid rules. Did the recording a year or so ago. Some of the numbers might be outdated, but the concepts are the same. And we can show you right there how you can protect money. Call us, come in for the free consultation, and we'll chat with you. And then we'll go through the thing. If you know somebody in this situation, just refer them to the website. If you want to just share this information, I do this. Perhaps you caught this show driving in your car on Saturday morning. We also do this as a podcast. So if you go to Apple or Spotify, you can find the Life and Legacy show. You can link it, follow it today. This is the episode on, what are we going to call the show? I'll just name it right now. We're going to call the show, Why Didn't They Tell Me at the Unfriendly Nursing Home? That'll be the name of this episode. And then share that. You can just text message it to your friend that has somebody in the nursing home. And they'll have the opportunity then to know the things that you now know. And maybe we ought to take some action to protect assets. Now, all of that said, maybe you're listening to this show and thinking, well, I don't have somebody that's in a nursing home right now, but this sounds terrible. And is there anything we can do that if my 75-year-old to 85-year-old parent or myself, if I would get sick in the future, is there anything that we can do to take action now to protect the dollars so that we don't have to get into this mess later? And the answer is yes. you should come to one of our workshops. We have the workshop in the office a couple times a month. You come in and we teach you all about these rules. We teach you about things like wills versus trust versus power of attorney. We teach you about the Medicaid 5-year look-back period. Last week's episode was all about this tool that I'm a big fan of called an asset protection trust. And with an asset protection trust, we put your money, we put your house, some of your money, put your house into a trust that after 5 years will never be lost to the nursing home. And so then if down the road you end up in this situation and somebody comes in, well, we've already got the house protected, so now what else can we protect? But at least in that instance, you've probably pretty much secured the fact that your spouse is going to have a home to live in, or that if you don't have a spouse, that home, the value of that home is going to get to your kids rather than Uncle Sam. And so I'm a big fan of the Asset Protection Trust. We talk a lot about it at our workshop. We have pre-recorded workshops available on our website. All of this information is at sechlerlawfirm.com, SECHLER lawfirm.com. And just understand, a takeaway is best case scenario for this stuff, because 1 in 3 of us is going to have dementia. If 1 in 3 of us is going to have dementia, and the nursing home today's dollars, 2022 is $180,000 a month, what's the nursing home going to cost in 2032? 200, two and a quarter? What's it going to cost? And how many families can go through $250,000 a year? And I'm seeing a lot of seniors and baby boomers want to take action now to protect themselves so that they don't get into these situations later. That's what the workshop's all about. Come check it out. Just a quick anecdote when I was talking about the friendly nursing home and the unfriendly nursing home. I want you to be aware that there are different mentalities in the ownership of these organizations. There's different mentalities in the staff of these organizations, and flat out, some of them, and I've had their employees tell me flat out that they don't think it's their job to help their residents protect money. Their job is, like any other business, to make as much money as possible. And some of these organizations are nonprofits, right? And they have this thing called a benevolent fund that if you run out of money, the benevolent fund will pay. Well, the benevolent fund, in my opinion, probably doesn't pay all that much when somebody's in the nursing home, because if you ended up broke, they're going to apply for Medicaid. They're not going to pay out of their own coffers. And so I just want you to know that your choice of a nursing home matters. And in making decisions, you should probably do a little bit of homework as to what's your take on this, what's your take on that. If families take actions to get Medicaid to help pay for it, do you prevent them from doing so? Do you try to prevent them from doing so? But what happens with the nursing home admission is families have to make decisions in short time. They don't really have time to shop around, or maybe the friendly nursing homes are all full at the moment, so they have to go to the unfriendly nursing home. And then we're in a situation where we've got to really battle with them, or we've got to really work hard to try to get on the same page to make sure that we're getting the care that we need without going broke. And so, it's not that I keep a naughty or nice list in the office here, but a pretty good idea what's going on in this space. And a lot of the time families will reach out to us when they think that mom is about to go to a nursing home, so they can get a lay of the land, and they can say, well, what about this place? What about that place? What about this place? And we know a lot of the nursing homes around Pittsburgh, and we know how they work, and we know how they operate, and we know the people on their team. And not that means that those relationships get us a more favorable result, but I can tell you that knowledge is better than going into it blind. So whether you work with us or someone else, you probably want to take steps to understand how this thing works, because I can assure you, if this is your first time putting somebody into a nursing home, you're entering a game that you don't fully understand the rules, and the other side does, right? So we don't get into a game with real consequences on it, real financial consequences, $180,000 a year. Don't enter into a game with those kind of consequences when you don't know the rules and the other side does. That doesn't make any sense. So what you should do instead is recognize that the admission to a nursing home is a legal problem, and I probably want a lawyer, right? Sechlerlawfirm.com, Sechler lawfirm.com, 724-841-1393. I appreciate you listening to the show this afternoon or this morning, whenever you listen to the show. Remember, everything on the show is general information, not legal advice. You are not my legal client just because you listen to this show. However, if you need some legal help, reach out to us, 724-841-1393. We'd be happy to help. I hope you found this episode educational. I hope, by doing the show, maybe we saved a couple of houses. I look forward to chatting with you next week.